Okay, what I'd like to show you now is how to assemble the riggers for the Explorer. When you receive it, it will consist of the monorail, and you'll have the long rigger bar, and you'll have the forward support. It's a shorter bar. First of all, you need to establish seat to the front of the boat, feet to the back of the boat. Obvious, but sometimes when things are upside down, you don't think about everything. When you put in the longer support, the rigger bar, then you make sure the rounded part or the short part of the rig is facing forward towards the seat and not to the feet. Put it in place, and in the same with the shorter support bar, you will put this in the same way with the bolt holes or the longer part of the support bar of the rigger's fittings facing backwards. Once they're in place, then you would put in some of these bolts loosely into the holes. Make sure that you've got all the washers placed, 2 of them, one spring washer and one flat washer. And we start off by doing it first. You can either use the Allen key that's applied underneath the feet. That will make your work quite easy, and it's no big deal. Otherwise, if you have, like we do, a electric screwdriver, you can use that as well, and just very carefully tap it in a very slow speed. Just tighten the bolts slightly, and then we across from each other, keeping an eye on the distance here. And for that I need my glasses, and make sure that it goes equal, so that it will be the same distance between the front and the back of the empty space between the fittings, the fitting to the monorail and the fitting to the. We tie it down and tighten the bolts properly, and we repeat the process in the front. Carefully in with the nuts, with the bolts first. Make sure all the washers are in place. First we put in a spring washer and then a flat washer. Line it up with the holes properly. Everything in balance. Make sure you don't over tighten anything. Keep the same distance. The distance of this that you see here, the space between the 2 brackets is the same. It stays equal. While you're tightening this, do it crosswise, only a little bit at a time, until they start getting fixed, and then you tighten off properly. And of course you can do this by hand as well. And then we're ready to put this into the boat. Okay, once again, now we've got the drop-in unit in place on the Explorer. Once again, you can use the electric drill, or you can use the Allen key provided at the bottom of the footplate. So, choice is yours. Because we used it, we do it all the time, we use the electric drill. The first thing that you have to do is to make sure that the fittings, the rigger fittings connecting the rigger bars to the railings of the boat is square. Now by square I mean that they're actually fitting flat on top of the rigger bars, and to do that you loosen these bolts slightly without moving the fitting anywhere, and you push it down. As you can see, it dropped down quite a couple of millimeters there, and now I just check that it's flat on the nut plates. There we go. And tighten these 2 bolts properly. I will go around the boat and do the same, repeat the process on all these ones. You can start off with the one side, just make sure everything is flat and in place there, not moving anywhere, not tightening down, just make sure they're lying flat. Next thing you'll do is you take one of these nuts, bolts, with the 2 washers, first spring washer and then a flat washer, into the inside hole, in this case the outside hole, of the big bar, and just tighten it slightly into the nut plate. Not all the way, just slightly. And the same on the forward side. You'll be using an outside hole again. And just loosen in with the bolt. Around the boat. And of course we'll repeat the process here, make sure that the fittings are flat on the nut plate. There we are, I'm happy. Tighten it down. Same in the front. Flat. Tighten it down. On the outside holes once more. You might have to bend the boat a little bit to just tension it up. Make sure your bolt is lined up before you tighten it, not to damage the thread. Same again on the outside holes. Just make sure the boat is tied up. You might have to push against it a little bit with your thigh. And then we go around just making sure all the bolts are tightened properly. Like that. Now the next step will be to make sure that is to check that all the bolts is tightened on your rigger pins, on the oar pins, and on the same on the other side.